Have you ever considered the possibility that plants might be intelligent? It's an intriguing thought, isn't it? When we think of intelligence, we often picture a brain, a central nervous system, something that plants decidedly lack. But what if intelligence wasn't confined to these structures alone? Enter the fascinating concept of plant intelligence. This idea suggests that plants, in their own unique way, exhibit behaviors that hint at a form of primitive intelligence. They perceive their environments, adapt to them, and even make decisions based on these perceptions. It's a realm of cognition, a Darwinian dance, if you will, that's taking place right under our noses. Speaking of Darwin, Charles Darwin, the father of evolution, held a deep fascination for the complexity of the plant world. He meticulously studied plant behaviors, from the way they sought sunlight to their intricate interactions with their surroundings. He proposed that these movements were not just mechanical responses, but could be viewed as acts of primitive intelligence. For instance, he studied carnivorous and climbing plants, marveling at their ability to respond to their environments. A climbing plant tendril, for example, doesn't just grow aimlessly, it tactically seeks out supports, wrapping around them to bolster its growth. This, according to Darwin, wasn't a mere mechanical response, but a demonstration of will and perception. In essence, plants are not just passive entities, mindlessly swaying in the breeze. They are dynamic, adaptive beings, constantly interacting with their environment, making decisions and even communicating in ways we're only beginning to understand. They might not possess brains or central nervous systems like animals, but they do have complex networks of chemical and electrical signals that allow them to process information and react adaptively. It's a different kind of intelligence, one that challenges our traditional understanding and opens up a whole new world of possibilities. So, what if we told you that plants might be more intelligent than we ever gave them credit for? As we delve deeper into the world of plant intelligence, we might just find that our leafy neighbours are more perceptive, more adaptive, and yes, more intelligent than we ever imagined. Charles Darwin, renowned for his theory of evolution, saw more in plants than meets the eye. This man, often pictured with a weathered face and a thick white beard, spent countless hours observing the intricate world of plants. He was fascinated by their behaviours, particularly those of carnivorous and climbing plants. His fascination took him beyond the physicality of plants, leading him to explore their abilities to perceive and respond to their surroundings. In his seminal work, The Power of Movement in Plants, Darwin delved into the intriguing behaviors of climbing plants. He meticulously noted how these plants exhibited a sort of tactical wisdom. Climbing plants, he observed, would seek out supports, wrapping their tendrils around them in an act that seemed to demonstrate a form of will and perception. They were not merely reacting to the wind or gravity, but actively reaching out, making decisions about where to grow based on the supports available to them. Darwin's observations did not stop at climbing plants. He also studied carnivorous plants, those exotic species that have evolved to trap and digest insects and small animals. Darwin noted their ability to detect the presence of prey, closing their trap-like structures in a swift and decisive action. This movement, he suggested, was not a simple reflex, but a calculated response indicative of a primitive form of intelligence. Darwin's insights into the plant world were revolutionary for his time. He suggested that plants were not passive, static entities, but dynamic and responsive organisms. They didn't simply grow, they adapted, they responded, they made decisions. Darwin saw in plants a form of intelligence that was different from our own, but no less remarkable. His observations challenged the existing ideas about what intelligence was and where it could be found. He laid the groundwork for a new understanding of plants, one that recognized their abilities to perceive, respond, and adapt to their environment. Darwin's observations laid the groundwork for our modern understanding of plant intelligence. Darwin recognized that roots are not mere passive structures, but active participants in plant survival and growth. Far from being static, roots are dynamic, almost sentient, as they actively probe the soil in search of nutrients and water. This quest isn't a blind gamble, but a calculated maneuver, guided by a complex series of chemical and physical signals. These signals enable roots to detect the most favorable areas for their development, like a treasure hunter, with an uncanny sense for where the gold lies. They can adapt to a myriad of environmental conditions, altering growth patterns in response to obstacles such as rocks, hard soil layers, or even chemical signals emitted by other plants or microorganisms. But it gets even more fascinating. Did you know that some roots can even detect the sound of flowing water and grow in that direction? It's like they have their own unique form of acoustic perception, enabling them to tap into the life-giving resource that water is. And roots aren't solitary in their mission. They are part of an interconnected web, communicating with a complex network of bacteria, fungi, and other soil organisms. This underground dialogue, like a hidden language of the soil, is crucial for nutrient acquisition and protection against pathogens. Plants use chemical signals to attract beneficial partners or to send out an alarm to other parts of the plant in case of danger. Darwin marveled at the remarkable adjustment capabilities of roots, their ability to extend or retract depending on the environment. This is known as root plasticity, an example of how plants have evolved to optimize their growth and survival in changing environments. So let's give it up for roots, these unsung heroes who tirelessly work, unseen and often unappreciated, beneath the surface. They are not just the anchors keeping plants grounded, but also their lifeline, their communication system, and their survival strategy. Roots, it seems, are a key player in the fascinating world of plant intelligence. Modern research has continued to unravel the astonishing behaviors of plants. In the world of science, the more we delve into the plant kingdom, the more we discover about the remarkable capabilities of these living beings that we share our planet with. The term plant intelligence has emerged to describe these fascinating behaviors, drawing from Charles Darwin's observations and the ever-advancing field of modern research. Plants, it seems, have a sense of identity. They can distinguish between kin and non-kin, adjusting their growth patterns and nutrient-sharing behaviors accordingly. This ability to recognize familial ties and prioritize cooperation with kin plants is a testament to their inherent intelligence. But the intrigue doesn't stop there. Plants also exhibit a kind of memory. They can store information and use it to guide future actions. For instance, a plant that has experienced drought may alter its water usage in the future, conserving resources in anticipation of another dry spell. This ability to learn from past experiences and adjust behavior is a key characteristic of intelligence, and it's one that plants clearly possess. Plants also exhibit a degree of decision-making ability. They can weigh different environmental factors and choose the optimal path for growth. This isn't a random process, but one guided by a complex network of chemical and electrical signals. These signals allow plants to process information and react adaptively, much like the way an animal's brain and nervous system function. The world of plant cognition is vast and complex, with many mysteries yet to be unraveled. The behaviors we've discussed here are just the tip of the iceberg. Researchers around the globe are continuing to delve into the plant kingdom, uncovering more about these remarkable organisms every day. Closing. It's clear that plants are far from being simple, passive organisms. They are dynamic, adaptive beings with a remarkable capacity for cognition. As we continue to explore the world of plant intelligence, we can only imagine what astonishing discoveries lie in wait. The world of plant intelligence is a realm of unexpected complexity and sophistication. As we've explored, plants aren't just passive inhabitants of our world, but active participants, perceiving their surroundings, reacting and even communicating in their own unique ways. We've delved into the intriguing observations of Charles Darwin, who was captivated by the remarkable behaviors of plants, suggesting that their movements are not merely mechanical, but can be seen as acts of primitive intelligence. From the climbing tendrils that deftly seek supports, to the carnivorous plants that detect and respond to their environments, Darwin's studies opened the door to understanding the fascinating world of plant intelligence. We've also discovered the unsung heroes of plant intelligence, the roots. Far from being passive structures, roots play an active and dynamic role in plant survival and growth. Guided by a series of chemical and physical signals, roots probe the soil for nutrients and water, adapting their growth in response to different environmental conditions. They communicate with a complex network of soil organisms, forming alliances for nutrient acquisition and protection against pathogens. And yet, the world of plant intelligence does not stop there. Modern research has shed light on even more astonishing plant behaviors. Some plants can distinguish between kin and non-kin, favoring cooperation with their relatives. They can memorize information and make decisions based on past experiences, demonstrating a key characteristic of intelligence. So, as we've seen, the realm of plant intelligence is a world of surprising sophistication and complexity. Plants are not mere passive participants in our world, but active perceivers and adapters, capable of communication and decision-making. In the words of Charles Darwin, it is not an exaggeration to say that the tip of the radical acts like the brain of one of the lower animals. Perhaps it's time we give plants the recognition they deserve in the realm of intelligence.